Honourable Gianni Pittella, first Vice President of the European Parliament, hosted an international conference in Brussels entitled Peace and Well-being, the Founding Values of the European Union. The keynote speaker, Prem Rawat, known internationally as Ambassador of Peace, addressed an audience of 250 dignitaries from across Europe.
The peace that resonates with me, the peace that Prem Rawat talks about, is that inner peace, the possibility of experiencing peace even with all the turmoil. And so I'm quite excited to be here today and to listen to the addresses that are going to happen later on.
Peace is possible, but it's going to be a long, long haul, because you've got to build, if you like, build upwards for a lasting legacy. And that means starting with children first.
They gathered to sign a declaration of intent to foster peace among people of the world, now known as the Brussels Declaration.
Very privileged to be here today to talk about the Peace Pledge. All activities associated with the Peace Pledge will be announced on the 21st of September, which is Peace Day, a day of ceasefire and non-violence.
It is the people who have to emerge victorious.
The event was chaired by Anthony Selden, historian, Master of Wellington College UK, and the official biographer of British Prime Ministers.
The history of mankind is the history of warfare and violence, but it's also the history of great kindness and humanity and love, and that love will triumph.
Mr. Pittella's speech highlighted the importance of everyone's contribution. He said, "Peace is not only a goal of great men, but a duty entrusted to all of us." Mr. Pittella's vision is for the Pledge to Peace to become an official annual event for the EU institution.
Care signore, cari signori,
ladies and gentlemen, ambassadors, members of parliament, colleagues, authorities, dear friends, it's a great honor to me to have it here again for the second time in a few years at the European Parliament. Very great personality who brings the universal message of peace and of dignity, such as the International Authority for Peace, International Ambassador for Peace, Mr. Prem Rawat. Today, we are going to have the pleasure to listen to the words, touching words, as always, by Mr. Prem Rawat. Today, we will sign a pledge which will involve each one of us, each one of those who are going to sign this declaration of intent, this pledge for peace, harmony and dignity. Just to show that peace is not a goal or something which is only entrusted to a great man, but it's a task and a duty entrusted to the ability and to the contribution, however small or big, by each one of us. This is the sense of the Brussels Declaration.
I'd like to thank very much indeed the first Vice President of the European Parliament, the Honourable Gianni Pittella. We've received letters of support from well-wishers from many places, including the President of the Republic of Slovenia, Dr. Danilo Turk, from the ambassadors of the United States, from Denmark, Germany, Portugal, Spain and Egypt, as well as the President of the Italian Senate, from the President of the Italian Parliament, and Emilio Colombo, former President of the European Parliament. And in this chamber today, we have, besides the many, many distinguished people who are listening in, the two core figures, the Vice President, who's doing so much to drive through thinking about European core values around peace. And of course, we have Prem Rawat, the internationally respected ambassador of peace. And is that not the most wonderful country that you could be ambassador for? To be ambassador for peace. He's dedicated his entire life to this topic. Prem Rawat is going to present his Lectio Magistralis, giving all of us a chance to reflect on what peace is going to mean in our own lives.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vice President, Your Excellencies, Member of Parliament, and distinguished guests. Why do we ask the question, is peace possible? Why? Why? Do we not know that peace inherently exists in the heart of every single human being? Why are we asking, can this happen? Of course it can happen. But then the question becomes, why isn't it happening? So, I'm a simple person, and I would like to take a little time today to introduce to you something very, very simple. Not complicated, not complex. Because sometimes we don't need new ideas. Sometimes all we need is to be reminded of what we already know. Because somewhere in our formulas, somewhere in our trying to figure it out, we have forgotten the most fundamental things. Who should be in the middle of humanity? Human beings. Sometimes we forget those fundamental things. That we are human beings. That human beings belong in the middle of the humanity. Not formulas. Not ideas. Because when I travel, when I go places, this is what I see. I see not people being addressed, but formulas being addressed. When a baby cries, does the mother say, you're not supposed to cry till the next 3 minutes? This is wrong. No, she gets up and addresses the issue. This is who we are. We want other people to think of us as being kind. You know why? Because kindness is nice. But are we kind to others? To indeed our own? Because every human being on the face of this earth is your neighbor. Why? Because there is no other neighbor out there. Not on the moon, not on the Mars, not on the Venus, not for billions and billions and billions and billions of miles. You don't have a neighbor. All of them are in this place called Earth. Somebody had asked me once what democracy was. And I said, democracy is a few serving many. Today, what democracy has become is many serving a few. That's not democracy. So, I'm not a politician, but I am a human being who holds very close to his heart the fundamental principles and the possibility of peace on this earth. whatever happens. Peace needs to be given a chance to flourish. That's the only thing we haven't tried. My God, we've tried everything else. And it's just now at this point, it's just a repeat. The only thing we haven't tried is to give peace a chance. And of course, people ask, where is peace? What is peace? Absence of war? No! No! War happens because people lost respect for each other. Ideas, principles, definitions, rules became more important than people. And when that happens, that war not only inflicts you physically, but the war will inflict you mentally. Peace is in the heart of human beings, not in the minds of human beings. So I humbly put to you a simple fact. And the simple fact is, contentment is not that far away from you. Peace is not that far from you. Never has been, never will be. And peace is not a luxury. The process of peace is not of creation, but of discovery. We share this time on this planet. It is incumbent upon us to use our resources, intelligence, and the goodness of our hearts to bring forth peace on this planet Earth, regardless of how impossible it may seem. There is one power that we have, and that is our resolve and ingenuity that can overcome any obstacle. And no obstacle is big enough in front of our resolve and our determination. We have invested in the past, and we have invested in the future. It is time to invest in the present. Because you may not know this, that's where you will hang out the most. Not in the future, not in the past. It is the investment of now that is going to fundamentally affect the future generations. The seeds we sow now is the crop of the next season. I am not fighting for you, and I'm not fighting for me. I'm fighting for us, all of us, on this planet Earth. One day at a time, one person at a time, making that resolve for peace is what's going to change the face of humanity. When human beings have properly been placed in their place where they belong. Right now, they're at the bottom. They don't belong there. They belong at the top. Systems should serve humanity, not humanity serve the systems. This, to me, is the possibility. The nightingale. The window needs to be opened, and the nightingale needs to be invited. And the song, soothe our existence. Once again, to be well, to feel well, because we are well. Thank you very much for your attention.
Students from the Norwegian Red Cross World College then had the opportunity to ask Mr. Patella and Mr. Rawat questions on the topic of peace and well-being.
It's really overwhelming to see how many people are actually working for this and working for peace to be possible.
The school that I'm from, our mission statement is to create peace through education.
I'm going to address a question to the President of the European Parliament, Mr. Pitella. I'm going to ask, how can we make peace instead of war?
How can we make peace instead of war an instrument for renewing our belief in the founding ideals of the European Union? Thank you.
I believe that each one of us has the possibility to contribute to a season of peace. This is the heart of the message that Prem Rawat gave to us. I believe that everyone, starting from the boys and the girls, can give their own contribution in terms of constructing an environment where peace and respect for other people prevail.
I would like to ask you, what role do you think international education can have in promoting peace and well-being while understanding our differences?
Education does not begin necessarily in an institution. It begins long before you ever go to school. You start learning. And hopefully, you keep learning after you have graduated from those institutions. One time I was looking up this word called ignorance. Ignorance is one of those words a lot of people like to plead. I'm ignorant, I'm ignorant. But actually, it turns out that one of the root words for ignorance is to ignore. And when we ignore the obvious, that's when ignorance really comes in. Sometimes the agenda becomes to fill you with information, and that information contained does not necessarily refer to you as a human being. The institutions need to focus, because that's what they do. There's that period of a time in our lives where we focus on that education in such a way that we will continue to learn, we will continue to grow. The biggest role that these institutions can play for peace is to try to put us in touch with ourselves, so that process of peace, understanding will continue to unfold for us long after we have left the walls of the sacred institutions.
And it was really inspirational to see Mr. Rawat talking.
I think coming straight from Cambridge, we're always really busy, like running from lectures to lab to supervisions, and I think we tend to forget what the founding values are, like what Prem Rawat spoke about, that it's not about creating something new, but it's about discovering something that you already have. I thought a very poignant thing that Prem Rawat said was about the education, and how it's not just about cramming our heads full of equations, but about the education of the bit of being like human.
The formal event concluded with a pledge to peace signing. Before this took place, 3 of the signatories spoke to the delegation about their reasons for wanting to participate in this pledge. The formal event concluded, and a group photo of the speakers, dignitaries and delegates was taken as a remembrance of the event.
What we got today? A big smile.
One of the most wonderful things about today was the eclectic mix of people. You had people in government, people in business, people in science, people in art, young people, old people. But the cry that came out from today was universal. It was a cry for our humanity, namely that there's a fundamental part of our humanity that wants peace.
It was a tremendous privilege today to play a part in this wonderful event here at the European Union Parliament, and to be introducing and chairing Prem Rawat, who is clearly such a very inspirational figure, and I certainly have been thinking a lot myself about what he was saying about peace lying within us all.
Above and beyond all our problems and all our issues, that there is something inside of each one of us that is just dying to be alive, and let that thing be alive. And at least these are the simple preliminary steps to finding that peace inside of you. Peace being in a person's life is a very simple thing. It really is a process of unveiling that you are the source of peace, that you are the source of that joy in your life, not something else.